5, so I'll go ahead and get started with today's presentation. This meeting will be recorded and uploaded to the city's YouTube, so you can always watch it later if you missed something or send it to your neighbors if they weren't able to attend. So welcome everyone to this virtual community meeting regarding the Mistletoe and Alamo Heights Street Improvements Project. My name is Justina Simon, and I'm a project manager with the City of Fort Worth's Transportation and Public Works Department. Also present on this meeting are representatives from the Water Department, the design consultant, and the contractor to answer any questions. Mia, did you want to say anything about this project before we start?
Sorry, did you say Mia?
Yes, sorry.
No, I'm just here as a representative for the council district office for Councilwoman Beck. And, if y'all ever have any issues and need information, our office is open as well.
Thank you. Sharika, did you want to add anything from the council district's office?
Hi, same as Mia, just here listening in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So during this presentation, I'll give you an overview of the project as a whole, provide a summary of the improvements on each street associated with this project, provide some information about the construction, and discuss the expected schedule moving forward. At the end, we'll open it up for questions and community input. If you think of any questions during the meeting, please feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll answer them all at the end of the presentation. So this project has two funding sources. The first is the 2022 bond, which the residents of Fort Worth voted on. The streets that are funded by the bond will have full pavement reconstruction, as well as new curb and gutter driveways and sidewalks wherever feasible. And the second funding source is the Water Department. And the streets that are funded by the Water Department, they'll have asphalt pavement reconstruction, and the curb, gutter, and curb, gutter, sidewalk, and driveways will be replaced in limited sections as needed. So the streets that are funded by the bond are Buck, Chambers, Gordon Avenue, Livingston Avenue, and Lipscomb Street. And then the streets that are funded by the Water Department are Harrison Avenue, Mistletoe Drive, Mistletoe Boulevard, Lisbon Street, Lander Street, Rutledge Street. And then we also have two alleyways, one between Lisbon Street and Vickery Boulevard, another alley between Alamo Avenue and Valentine Street. On the next few slides, I'll discuss the existing conditions present on these streets and go into more detail about the scope of each one. So on this slide, you can see similar conditions of deteriorated asphalt pavement on Chambers Street, Gordon Avenue, Lipscomb Street, and Rutledge Street. So next we'll be going over what we're going to do to make these streets better. So Buck Avenue is the first one, from West Rosedale Street to Mistletoe Avenue. For the water and sewer improvements, we're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to 8-inch. For the paving improvements, we're putting new pavement with concrete curbs, new concrete driveways with 11-foot minimum width or match the existing, and new 5-foot sidewalk on the west side of the street and limited portions on the east side. Next up is Chambers Avenue, from Alamo Avenue to West Vickery Boulevard. For the water and sewer improvements, we're upgrading the new 8-inch sanitary sewer line. And for the paving improvements, we're putting new pavement with concrete curbs, new concrete driveways with an 11-foot minimum width, and new 5-foot concrete sidewalk on both sides of the street. On Gordon Avenue, from McPherson Avenue to West Loudon Street, for the water and sewer improvements, we're upgrading the new 8-inch water line. And for the paving improvements, we're putting new pavement with concrete curbs, new concrete driveways with 11-foot minimum width, and new 5-foot sidewalk on both sides of the street. On Livingston Avenue, from West Loudon Street to West Bowie Street, we're up for water and sewer improvements. We're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to an 8-inch, and we're installing new pavement with concrete curbs, new concrete driveways, and new 5-foot sidewalk on both sides of the street. Lipscomb Street, we are upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to 8-inch, installing new pavement with concrete curbs, new concrete driveways, and new 5-foot sidewalk on the west side of the street and some portions on the east side. Then Harrison, from Buck Avenue to Mistletoe Drive, we're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to 8-inch and installing new asphalt pavement. And so this street, the paving improvements are funded by the Water Department. So Mistletoe Drive, from Mistletoe Avenue to West Rosedale Street, we're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to 8-inch and installing new asphalt pavement. Mistletoe Boulevard from Buck Avenue to Mistletoe Drive. We're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to an 8-inch and installing new asphalt pavement. Lisbon Street from Chambers Avenue to Landers Street. We're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to an 8-inch, installing new asphalt pavement. Landers Street from Locke Avenue to Lovell Avenue. We're upgrading the existing 4-inch water line to an 8-inch, installing new asphalt pavement. And then Rutledge Street from West Vickery Boulevard to Landers Street. We're upgrading the existing 6-inch water line to an 8-inch, installing new asphalt pavement. And then there's the alleyways. The first one's alley between Lisbon Street and Vickery Boulevard from Bedford Street to 144 feet north of Chambers Avenue. So we're gonna come in with a new 8-inch sanitary sewer line. And the second alleyway between Alamo Avenue and Valentine Street, the limits from 370 feet south of Chambers Avenue until West Freeway. We're also gonna put a new 8-inch sanitary sewer line there. So on the next few slides, I'll go over some construction information and frequently asked questions. So first up, why are we doing this project? As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, this project is funded by the 2022 bond, which the residents of Fort Worth voted on, which targets locations in the city that need street improvements. And then TPW partnered with the water department to also replace underground utilities in those areas. So how will we know construction is starting? First, you'll get 2 door hangers. The first one will be a week before construction starts, and it'll look something like this on the slide. And the second one, you'll get the day before construction starts, and it'll look something like this. Will our water be turned off? So there are 2 instances when your water will be turned off. The first is when the service is transferred from your existing line to the temporary line. And the second time is when it's transferred from the temporary line back to the new line. So you'll be given notice before that happens each time. How does the temporary line impact my home and water bill? So the purpose of the temporary line is to make sure you don't go without water during the construction. And so you'll be billed based on your previous usage. Do you replace the water service line up to my house? We replace the water service line from the main line in the street until your property line, and we'll also replace the water meter. This is just a PSA. If you see water running down the street, don't turn it off. The reason for this is to flush the line and test it, and just to make sure that you have clean water coming to your house. So don't turn that off. Will you need access to our property? So this construction is in the street, but if we do need access to your property, we'll contact you. Will our sewer service be disrupted? No, your sewer service will not be disrupted during the construction. Will the construction affect my irrigation? So the contractor, before they start, they're going to cap the irrigation lines. They may come ask you to turn on your irrigation system so they can locate and flag the sprinkler heads. Are we getting new curb, gutter, and sidewalks? So as I mentioned earlier, concrete curbs are going to be replaced on the bond-funded streets, and then limited portions of the existing curb and gutter will be replaced on the water department-funded street. And if your driveway is being replaced, the city will only replace the portion that's in the city of right-of-way, not all the way to your garage. Will I be able to access my driveway? So there are 2 instances when you won't be able to access your driveway. The first is when pavement is being placed directly in front of your property, and the second is when your driveway itself is being replaced. And you'll get heads up before this happens so you can make arrangements beforehand. What happens if my property is damaged? So before the contractor starts, they're going to have to take pictures and videos of the property. We also encourage you guys to do the same. And if there's any damage caused by the contractor, they'll be responsible for it. Will there be lane closures during construction? There will be lane closures when the contractor is installing the water and sewer lines and when they're paving, and there's going to be signs posted during those times. Will the city's trash truck be able to pick up my trash and recycling during construction? So if your side of the street is closed on trash day, the contractor will take your trash and recycling carts to the opposite side of the street so they can be picked up. How do I report an emergency or non-emergency? So if there is an emergency, you can call this number that's listed on this slide 24 hours a day. For a non-emergency, you can call the second number for the water call center, which is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and closed on city holidays. Also, if you're not already using the My Fort Worth app, we'll bring your attention to it. It's a quick and easy way to report any issues to the city. So once you submit a concern, it goes to the appropriate city work team, and you can view the status of the request on the app as well. So next we'll go over the construction phasing and schedule for this project. So this slide shows the typical construction process. So first, the water and sewer utilities are installed along with the service connections to each lot. And then once that's completed, there's temporary pavement put in place, like you can see in that third picture, so that you're able to drive over it until the pavement is replaced. For the streets that are concrete, which will be Chambers, Gordon, Lipscomb, and Livingston, these pictures give you an idea of what the construction process will look like. So first, the existing curb, driveways, and pavement are removed. Then the pavement and the curb are installed together. And then lastly, the driveways are installed. And then for an asphalt street, that will include Buck, Harrison, Landers, Lisbon, Mistletoe Drive, Mistletoe Boulevard, and Rutledge. These pictures give you an idea of what that construction will look like. So first, the existing curb and driveways are removed and replaced. Then the existing street is demoed and the new asphalt street is installed. So after construction is complete, we know it's not a fun process, but this is what you have to look forward to. So we have some pictures of new concrete and asphalt streets with new curb and gutter. And here we have some pictures of new concrete driveways, sidewalks, and pedestrian ramp crossings. So this slide shows the anticipated schedule for each street. So the construction start date is anticipated to be July 21st, 2025. And then we'll start with Lipscomb Street. So the utility improvements will be from July 2025 to August 2025. And then we'll go to paving, November 2025 to April 2026. And then we have Mistletoe Drive and Mistletoe Boulevard. So those utility improvements will be August 2025 to November 2025. And the paving improvements will be from December 2025 to March 2026. Then Buck Avenue and Harrison Avenue, the utility improvements will be November 2025 to December 2025. And the paving improvements will be October 2025 to February 2026. Gordon Avenue, we have the utility improvements from December 2025 to January 2026. The paving improvements from April 2026 to August 2026. Then we have Livingston Avenue, the utility improvements from January 2026 to February 2026. Paving improvements from April 2026 to August 2026. Chambers Avenue and the two alleyways. So the utility improvements, which includes the sewer in Chambers and the two sewer lines in the alleys, will be from February 2026 to June 2026. And the paving improvements for Chambers will be from May to August 2026. And then we have Lisbon and Landers Street. Utility improvements will be in June 2026. Paving improvements July 2026 to October 2026. And then lastly, Rutledge Street, utility improvements in July 2026, and the paving improvements from July to September of 2026. And we'll finish construction in October of 2026. So if you want to stay updated on this project as we go, you have a few options. You can use that first link on the slide, which will take you directly to the project webpage. That webpage will contain updated information throughout construction. And then the other option, you can also go to the Fort Worth website, www.fortworthtexas.gov. And if you enter 104213, that's the city project number, in the search bar, it'll take you to that same project webpage that will keep updated. And we'll go ahead and open up this meeting for questions or comments.
So at this time, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. Alternatively, if you want to type the question in the chat, we will get to those as well. And also in the chat, I have posted the link that Justina mentioned to the project webpage if you would like to just click on it from there. We have a question here in the chat. It says, will you be updating the water and sewer for West Magnolia? I don't believe that is part of the scope of this project. Is that correct, Christine?
Yeah, that's not part of this project.
Oh, I see we do have a follow-up question. Why not? So, the, I apologize. Is there an echo?
You're cutting in and out.
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so the follow-up question was why not? So regarding the scope of this project, as Justina mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, the limits of this project are defined by the 2022 bond program. So those are the streets that are included in this project, and that's what initially scoped the project. In addition, the water department has added water and sewer improvements to surrounding streets in close proximity to the project. So that's how the project was scoped.
I'm sorry, Greg. I need to say something. We already did West Magnolia in 2018 bond. So we did West Magnolia from Buck all the way to Jerome. So that was already done in 2018 bond. So it's not. So the only thing left in West Magnolia is a small piece, like almost an alley, in the other side of the street of Jerome. That's the only thing left. But we already did West Magnolia. We did West Magnolia and Erwin in 2018 bond.
Is there, this is a question for Donna, just to follow up. Is this, what section of West Magnolia are you referring to? What limit?
Okay, so you're not talking about the street, you're talking about the water. We actually added water line as part of West Magnolia in the 2018 bond, but we did not move all the water back to the street. So we added a water line in West Magnolia, but that's a question to water department, but we rebuilt the street, and I think we had issues with some residents did not want us to go back and move all that water line from the back to the front. So that was, yes, was proposed as part of when we paved West Magnolia, but for other reasons, they couldn't do it. But there is already a water line installed in West Magnolia. So if in the future water department decided to move your water meter from the back to the front, it is already there. The only thing they need to do is connect you to that water line. But they couldn't go back because of a lot of people have fences, sheds, driveways. It was a lot of work. People did not want us to go back and permit water department to get an easement and to work in their back to move the water line from the back to the front. So that was, there was a public meeting. I'm not sure if you were back in the same location in 2018, but yes, we did not move the water, but we installed the new water line. So I can tell you I was the BM, and there is a new water line in West Magnolia, but we did not move you to it because there will be a cost to move all your plumbing from the back to the front. That's maybe a discussion you may need to have with everyone in the street and with the water department.
Mary, we do have a project that's under design in the area of West Magnolia from Buck to Park or something. But anyway, it's in the area, and it's CPN. I just had it 105. Yeah, and now we'll pull up. But we do have one, and I can get you that information. You can contact me. My name's Clayton Torrance. And you can contact me at the email clayton.torrance@fortworthtexas.gov, and I can shoot you in the right direction, Donna.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Like I said, feel free to unmute yourself or place your question in the chat and we will read it out. Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat right now. So last chance, please either unmute yourself and ask a question if you have one, or place it in the chat. Alternatively, if you would like to just email Justina separately, I'm sure she would answer your question that way as well.
Yeah, my contact information is on the screen, my phone number and email, as well as the contact information for the construction inspector. If anyone thinks of a question after this meeting is over, please feel free to reach out to me by phone or email, and I'll be happy to chat with you and answer your questions.
And I do see that Clayton placed a link to the project talking about in the chat as well, if anybody is interested in clicking on that and looking at it.